everyone, it is Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative, and today we're going to continue on with the whole let's make flowers with a bit of a twist. One, I'm going to be using neon colors. I picked up from Let's Resin their neon colors. It's a 12-pack, I believe, of different colors. And we are also going to use the Elichem resin, the lime green tint. I've also got some glitter powder here. Glitter. I have some glitter I'm going to put in with my neon green that I've got going on here. I've mixed up some of my colors so as not to bore you too much. And some of it I'm going to mix up while you're watching. So I've got my lime green done. I decided I wanted to add some sparkle to it. I'm doing it this way with these colors because I want to do something different, and I want to see how well I can continue to work on making my flowers and have them come out cool. Now, what I'm saying is a little different about this one, and we have to mix up the orange red that I have here, is what I've done. I've already poured some of my mold. Okay. I poured some clear resin. I'm following Claire's Crafty Corner. She had done something where she had poured some clear and then she had put vibes from the 70s and 80s on her clear part. I had been making some artwork on cardstock, and these were some of the shapes, well, triangles and circles that I had done. So I wanted to do that, and then I wanted to see what kind of flower bloom I might be able to do over top of that pattern. I am going to use pink, lemon, the orange red, and as I say, this is lime green. It's very bright lime green. One of the things that Let's Resin has indicated with their pigment is this is, I don't want to say chunky is not the right word, but it's not as fine a powder as what mica powder is. And they suggest putting a little bit of your resin into a container, then mixing up the powder into it, and then adding more resin on top of that, just so that you can work out they're not clumps, but it's, like I say, it's just not as fine as a mica powder is. What I had attempted to do was I wanted to try and get it more like a mica powder, or at least smoothed out a little bit more. So I had taken tin foil, I put the powder on here, and then I sort of smooshed it with my spoon here. Like I just rubbed it down onto the tin foil to try and smooth it out. Did that work? Yeah, it helped a little bit, but I almost think what you need to do is sift this through a sifter, obviously, and then, use it. I've done that for other products, and it does help out a little bit. I'm not sure what the best way is, and because it sort of worked on that, I'm not going to do that for this orange. I am just going to pour my resin in here and then add it, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about with it being, well, I want to say a little chunky. So we're going to take a little bit of this and put it in here. And you don't need a lot, but again, it's the intensity of what are you looking for. And I want to put that over here, and then I'm going to very carefully, and I'm out of camera sort of idea, but I'm going to cover those up. Wipe off the tip of this. And I want to cover that up too. I'm covering all kinds of, I tend to cover up my resins if I'm still working on mixing something up. And I'm just looking for a stick that's already done. Okay. So again, as I say, I spread it around in the resin to try and get, but if you can see it, and I hope you can, it is kind of chunky in there, right? It's not dissolving like a regular mica powder would. And I had done a sort of a random piece with a couple of the other colors, and I didn't like that it wasn't breaking up, and that's why I had thought, well, maybe if I put it on the tin foil and break it down, like smoosh it out, that might work. But again, it's still not really breaking it down, and I'm not really sure, sort of, I want to find a nice way of breaking it down so it's not so chunky. So we'll mix it up as best as possible. So what's going to end up happening is you'll see what looked like flecks in it because you haven't broken down all the powder. And if anyone's got any brilliant ideas or a random idea, I'd love to hear it in the comments below so that we can maybe have a better way of doing this. And I may have a little bit too much resin in there, so I can't break it down as nicely, but that's okay. Again, it's one of those things I'm learning. Okay, so that definitely is an orange red. I don't know whether you can see it that well, but it's definitely got the look of red in it, for sure. Okay, so having done that, I'm just going to take this, I'm going to cover up, because as we all know, I feel it's always the best measure is to use something and then put the lid back on it so you're not ending up with a mess all over the place. So I'm just going to pour a little bit more of the clear in there. Put that down and then we'll mix this up. Because my plan is to do a color on the outside edge, and then I want to add some clear. I think I'm going to add some clear, and then I'm going to put down the next color, and I'm going to do rings, and I'm going to move them in. I'm not doing any type of, what am I not doing? Oh, I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, so I'm just going to do circles of each color, moving slowly into the more, I know what I'm going to say. I'm not putting any glitter right in the center like I did in my other video. I don't have any, gold flake or anything like that I'm putting in this. The only glitter is in the green, the lime green that I've done. That's going to be like the white was. Okay. I'm hopefully not taking too much time to mix this up. All right. Pushing my stick off, and I figured it'd be easier if I just mixed them in these little bowls, because then that was done. Alrighty. Okay. I'll let that sit for a moment. That'll be the last color I throw in. I want some of the air bubbles to come up to the top on that, because I've been a little more intense with mixing that up, just from the sake of everybody's time. So let's just get some of this stuff out of the way. I'm just going to take my long neck lighter, and I'm just going to go over these ones that I've already mixed and that have been sitting for a few minutes. Okay, that didn't work very well, so forget that. I think I'm going to put a little bit, now I can feel these getting a little bit warm, so I need to get my act together. Now I know that if you start mixing too many different colors, the first colors you mixed will start to thicken up, and they'll also start to warm up because they're getting the chemical reaction is occurring. Okay, don't need anything great on that, and the bubbles are coming up to the top really well on this orange red. All right, so let's do this, and here's, my fingers crossed that I've got enough for each of the colors. So we're going to put this here. My mat has a little bit of a warp in it, so I want to be careful. Now, let's see. We'll start with the pink on the outside because it's the very first color I used or mixed up. And I'm going to go fast because I want to make sure I get all the way around before I run out. Isn't that always the way, eh? You think you've got enough and then maybe you run out. So we'll just do this, and I'm going to come back again the same way, because the other side has definitely got more of the pink for it. I have no idea if this is going to work, how this is going to turn out. I have no idea. But I wanted to see if I could kind of create a cool little design, sort of like a flower, but with more color in it, and to give me an opportunity to try out more of the neon color. Okay, so I'll throw that aside. Now I'm just going to show you on here. So that gives you an idea what the pink looks like. We're going to pour a bit of the clear in here now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up against the pink, because the pink isn't going right up against the edge of the mold, which I needed to do. So I'm going to pour some clear right up to the pink. And with one of my other ones I'd done, I then took my stylus, so I didn't get too much of the clear. I'm going to find this silly thing. And then I just pushed my resin up into there, into the edges. And it would be easier to do if there weren't all these little crevices, right? Like that's what's... So I'm just going to go around the edges and get this pink right into it, because I want to make sure that I get right up to the edges of this. I'm just going to turn. So what are you up to today? What crafty anything are you doing? Are you working with resin? Are you doing painting? Are you cooking? Comment below what you've gotten up to today that is creative, because I know anything you've done today has been creative. So let us know in the comments. Let me know what you've gotten up to that's creative. Okay. So that is, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this yellow, or lemon as they say. I'm going to do that next. Like I say, I have no idea what we're going to get when we do this, but the only way I'm going to know and have some fun with it is to do it this way. Let go. Okay. I say they're starting to firm up a little bit because of the fact they've been sitting, which is okay. Maybe it'll give me a better something as a result of that, a better design, something more interesting. Oh, sugar plum fairies. Okay, so hold on to these. That's too funny. At least it just touched the edge of it. I don't have, yeah, that's okay. It just touched the edge. And there's what the lemon looks like. And I'm just going to use my stylus to clean that off. That's too funny. See, that's what happens when you get nervous doing stuff online. Because you're trying to be quick with what you're doing, and then you just sort of don't rush. No need to rush, especially if you're not taping yourself. Don't rush. Okay, so we'll do another clear go around. And then we'll do the orange. So I'm probably going to end up with more of the orange than the pink and the yellow or lemon. So I'll just do that. This is almost going to be like the glitter, isn't it? That's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. So I had snow today. it is almost the end of April and I had snow today. I know I talk about the weather a lot. I don't know about where anyone else lives as far as, you know, the type of weather you deal with. I tell you, here where I live in Canada, oh, it's been crazy, like crazy with the weather we've been getting. I just don't, I don't understand. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just going to pour the rest of the clear in here. I'm just pouring it in the center. I'm not going to pour it around. I'm just going to pour it in the center. So you'll notice it's sort of pushing my orange out, which is totally cool. You know, if I do this and it doesn't look right and I don't like it, then I won't do it again. I feel like I'm running out of time getting this done, so that's why I'm doing this the way I am. Again, if you were doing this at home, you'd probably it'd be easier. Okay, let's just get the rest of this clear out of here. Alrighty, that's enough of the clear out. Now, I can't lift this up, but there are little specks of the orange in here, and that will be because it didn't completely dissolve itself. Now, the other thing I want to do before I put the green in is I'm just going to go around and I'm going to get rid of any air bubbles. This kind of looks cool just the way it is, but we're going to hopefully make it look even more cool. All right. Now, I really should put this green in one of these containers, so I'm going to do that. Just so I can more easily get it going around in the circles. And I'm probably going to make this going around this a little more thick as far as my lines go. I might have done too much of this green. Again, that's one of the things I'm a little challenged on, is how much, because you want to make enough, but at the same time, if you make too much of one thing, as we've found, then it kind of messes up the overall design. Or at least it has for me. So we'll go. Okay, so I'm thinking about this. We're just going to circle around. Circle around, and as I say, I'm going to probably get it a little too thick in spots. Lift that up, and then I'm going to try and go down around the edge a little bit more, closer to the outside as I can, just so I can get it out and not waste too much of the resin. I don't like wasting it if I can avoid it. It's interesting how the outside I'm getting it in pretty much just a straight line, whereas when I was pouring it out initially, it's like I've got these wonky, which is okay. I don't mind that at all. Okay, that's done. With the one flower I had done that was blue that I really liked, I went all the way through. I didn't just come into the center until the very end where I did that. So I'm going to do the same thing on this. I'm just going to whirl through this with my stylus to the other side. And I'm just going to do that. I found that seemed to have a really nice effect. So that's all I'm going to do. I think I could do it more than I did on the other one, just to see if I can't get more of a shape. Now, I've been thinking about what if I put a really thin coat of black on the back of this before we take it out of the mold. So I'm trying to debate whether I want to do that or whether we just leave it so it's clear. I haven't quite, I haven't figured that out, so maybe before I demold it, I'll have figured that out. Or what we could do is do one that is and one that isn't. Okay, I'm liking how this is looking, and I'm liking that I'm going all the way through from one side to the other. And what we'll do is we will circle like that. And I think I'm going to call it a day. I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm not going to do any more because, as I've found in the past, if I do too much, I can see the sparkles. You may not be able to see the sparkles in this. I'm going to move this over, being completely in the viewfinder. I should have made sure of that before I started doing. So just to recap what I did, I started at one side here and I worked my way squiggly line all the way to the other side, and I did that around. So I did it like that all the way. I found that I liked the way that turned out on one of the blue ones I'd done, as I have mentioned already. And then I've just swirled in the center here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my long net lighter now, and we're just going to go over, because I can see some bubbles on this. And once we're even off camera, I'll just keep that going because it was starting to thicken up. That's why I've got some air bubbles on this. It's so interesting. I just love how this looks just right now. Wouldn't it be cool if it could just get set like this, and then that was all? As if you've worked with resin, you know it has a mind of its own. And as much as that's what the pattern looks like now, it'll totally shift itself, which is, it's all part of the process, and I get and appreciate that. It's just interesting. So I'm going to move this off to the side now because this mat I have is not level. It's got some pockets, air pockets. I'm getting some new of these silicone. So that's how we look right now. Not going to touch it, going to leave it, let it do its own brilliant thing. Because I've used the paste, that should be like the white was with the blue ones that I did. And we're going to see how this pans out. And I might just leave this clear. And the other thing I can always do is I can do another layer on it once it's out. I could do that with UV resin, or very carefully mix up some regular resin and then let it set up, doing black and or white. I don't know. Would you do a color on top of this? So think about that, and you can let me know in the comments below if you would consider putting anything on top of it, or if you were going to do a color, what color would you do? So we'll move this off to the side. Boom, done. We will cover it up. I will continue to check it. I'm having problems with my hands today. Continue to check it. And we will come back once that's cured, and we'll see if I, have decided what I want to do, or if we are just going to leave it as is. We'll see you when it's ready to demold. Bye for now. We are ready to take this out of the mold. I'm actually very excited about this piece. Not that I haven't been excited about the other pieces, I have been, but I think because of the colors that I've used in this one, so it's very interesting to me. As it was starting to pull itself together, my one concern had been, have I got colors that are too close together? And therefore it's not going to, you're not going to see the differentiating factors in it, but I don't know. I have a new mat down, black. I have not put, obviously, anything on the back of this. What I thought we could do is once we took it out of the mold, we could lay it on this white piece of paper. We could also lay it on the black mat and get a sense of what would look best behind it if we were going to put a coating on it. First off, let's have some fun. There's a little bit of sparkle in this. You may not be able to see it in the viewfinder, but there is some sparkle. It's very subtle. Let's get this out of here. I think I'm going to have fun playing with the neon colors. I think there's a lot that can be done with them, and especially if you're a person or you know people who like really, really bright things. Okay. So here we go. This is what this looks like, and I want to put it down so you don't get the glare. So this is the pattern that I put on using a Posca pen. Nothing elaborate, kind of boring maybe to some people, but I just wanted to play with the idea. As I mentioned, so unfortunately, using the colors I did, they blended too much. So you don't really see a pattern in it, which, yeah, that's a bit of a disappointment to me. And what I might do in my spare time is fill in some color in within these shapes, just to give it a little more definition. It's kind of boring, and I know I'm getting some light on that. This is kind of boring, and I wish you could see more of what kind of flower pattern or pattern we would have in general. So I used the wrong colors. I should have perhaps used maybe a purple in here. I used the wrong colors. So we don't have much definition here, do we? I'm trying to keep the light off for this. It's a little more fun on the back, but again, I used the wrong colors. So that's on me, obviously. So we'll just put that down here. So get rid of the glow. And I don't think putting a backing on this, whether we did white, well, yeah, the black might make a bit of a difference, but I don't think enough of a difference. The colors were wrong. I should have used more differentiating colors. I could have used blue in this. I'm trying to think if there were, what other colors. There is a white in the powder. And maybe too, if I hadn't used my lime green for the paste that I swirled around, that perhaps that would have helped too. The colors blended too much. So what I might do is just use some of my other Posca pens and fill some of this in, just to jazz it up a bit, just to give it some color, and that might help this piece out. So not a waste, but not near what I wanted. And I'm going to hold it up against the sun just to see if I can see some definition of the design. Just to see. Okay, another one I want to show you. This one I had completely done off camera is this. And what I did was I was using up I had put UV resin in the bottom of my heart, using up some other leftovers I had. And then I just built this up with different colors just to finish it off, use it up. And then I took my Posca pen again and I just, did this design on it. And then I covered it with a layer of UV resin. I used the Jdiction on that. And actually, I think that looks really cool now that I've, put the design on it. And seeing the sort of abstractness of the other colors. And that's what I really like, is the abstractness of other things. So I really like how that looks. And I'm tempted to put some sort of design on the back of this, maybe with white. And this happens to be one of the neon colors. And then I also put purple in. So I'm blending my colors. I'm not having really distinct colors that I'm using together, which is why this piece turned out the way it did. Anyway, again, I know what not to do next time. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you some ideas for your own artwork and what you might do. And I have to say too, just before I end this, I like this design a lot better than I like that design, but I was playing. I was seeing what I could do. I hope you've appreciated this video. Like and subscribe. Comment below if you have any suggestions on what colors you would have used. And I might have asked that earlier, but what colors would you have used so that you could have really had things pop? Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of my channel. Have a great day. Be creative, and we will chat with you soon. Bye for now.